Rear mount radiators. Welcome to class. That was a freestyle intro, believe it or not. Anyways, guys, welcome to today's session. I don't know what I'm going to call this series. If you got a suggestion, put it in the comments below. But today, we're going over rear mount radiators. So, a lot of you guys have been asking. I love that you guys are asking questions. If you continue to ask questions, I will continue to make videos. I'm trying to come up with different things to do videos on for you guys, but this is definitely one that I get a lot of questions on. Question: why should I go rear mount radiator? What are the benefits? Why does it matter? Where do babies come from? What's the best fan to use? What's the best radiator size to use? Where, just routing, all these different things that you have to come up with. I get a lot of questions on this. One of the things that comes up is when I initially went into doing a rear mount radiator in my personal car, no one really had too much information. A couple buddies had some information, but no one could really tell me exactly how it worked and what was the best way to do it. All the stuff that I'm going to be telling you guys in this video is going to be all from my personal learning, and this is what's worked for my car. I do think that it could work for your car as well. So, breaking it down real quick, 3 things you need. You need CFMs, GPMs, and NAF, which I made up for the sake of this video. So that's not an actual term, it's my term. It's a Micah Diaz term, it's an MD term. Check this out. CFMs, I'm just gonna run you through these so that you guys know what we're talking about when I'm referring to things here on my awesome, cool, sponsored Holdfast demonstration car. So CFMs, cubic feet per minute. This is the measurement that you're gonna be rating your airflow at that comes out of your fan. GPMs, gallons per minute. This is the measurement that you're going to be rating your water pump at. NFA, natural airflow. This is the measurement. It's not a measurement. All it means is natural airflow. I don't even know that I'm going to say NAF, but if I do, you'll know what it means. All right, we're jumping straight into it. Pros and cons of rear mount radiator system. Pros, you got weight distribution. Depending on how high you mount your radiator in the rear end of your car, you can really help out with the center of gravity on your car. Put some weight over those rear tires to get a little more forward bite out of your corners. Add a little traction to the vehicle. They make a lot of horsepower. They're usually all gutted. You want a little extra weight back there. Second pro, cooling. You have more time that your fluid is not being inside of your engine. As the hot water comes out of your engine, it goes to the back. It's a long distance to travel and a lot of cooling time. It goes to your radiator, it cools, and it sends a lot of nice cold water back up to your engine. Pro number 3, space. Space is a big thing. If you guys are doing your turbo mounts, your supercharger mounts, your freaking whatever the heck mount you want to do up front, your intercoolers, your piping, all that stuff, when getting rid of the radiator, this is a big problem. A lot of guys have issues fitting a good fan behind a radiator because of how tight the squeeze is. When you get rid of that radiator in the front end, you open up a whole world for imaginations. Like all kinds of stuff that you can do up there once you get that radiator out of the freaking way. So it's so nice not having a radiator up there because it makes the whole front end of the car a lot easier to work on, especially if you're naturally aspirated V8 like myself. Pull the whole front end off, slide the motor straight out of the front. Easy. I love it. It's amazing. Now we're gonna get into the cons. Cons, cooling, right? You're like, wait, that's on the pros. Well, if it's in the cons, here's why. The reason that this is in the cons, cooling, is because if you do it the wrong way, you can have heating issues. It could go wrong very easily, but if you follow these 3 things that you need, you should be fine. It worked for my car. There's no reason why it shouldn't work for yours. You need to make sure that you have the right stuff so that it works right. Another con is working on lines. You have to get all the lines to run through your car. Or the longer your lines are, the more ability you have for something to go wrong. Simplicity is like the best thing for a race car. But if your lines are super long, the potential of them having a hole or something in them, or cracking a grommet or whatever, or ripping in a line, it happens. You just have to go find it and fix it. I haven't had any of those issues, but that is a problem. Con number 3, labor. So it is a little bit labor intensive. This isn't like your... You know what, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that you can do this in your garage. You know why? Because I did it in my garage, and you can do it in your garage. It's not that difficult to do. You can do it yourself. You just got to be willing to punch some holes in some stuff and really be creative with running your lines. You can do it in your garage if you wanted to. It's going to be a project. You got to buy things, but you can do it. It is a little bit labor intensive, so I'll leave that on the con side of things. So when doing a rear mount radiator in your car, you're gonna want a couple of things. You're gonna want a good fan with a good CFM rating. You're also gonna want a water pump with a good GPM rating. And you're also gonna want some good NAF, which is natural airflow into your car. So depending on where you get it from. A good fan will put out around 4,000 CFMs. To do that in an aftermarket fan, it's gonna cost you some money. So keep in mind, the budget for this isn't very low. The bill could get racked up. We bought a radiator based off of our fan. We made sure that it fit in the rear end of our car, which I'll take you in depth on that. So you're gonna need a good fan with a good CFM rating. A good water pump, 55 gallons per minute. The pump is strong enough to run the water all the way back to my radiator and then all the way back to my engine. So you can be fine running an OEM pump on an LS motor. On your JZs, all your other stuff, I don't know. I know that a couple of guys with like BMW motors put a secondary pump, an inline pump in there somewhere, which is cool. Hashtag LS life, don't have those problems. Another thing is the routing. So I have my system kind of routed, and I'll take you over to the actual car, but this is kind of an overview. You like my sick drawing? This is kind of an overview. The water pump, the water comes down through the lines, comes up into the radiator, comes out of the radiator, back into the engine. Whether you do them under the car or you do them in the car, that's up to you, depending on what kind of space you have. But in my car, I was able to run them through the car. Another thing is the natural airflow. There's tons of ways you can do this. You can get it off the floor into the radiator, similar to the way Frederick Osbo's IM Corolla, I think is what it is ran. He has no real scoops or anything. It all comes off the floor, which is super nice, and it makes your car still look street legal if you want to do it that way. The other way is into the quarter windows like my car. I have these big fat tubes that run from my quarter windows to the radiator. You can pull in a lot of air like that, but it does not look as streetable. Another way is the way a lot of FD guys, Alex Hilbram, a lot of his cars are set up like this, where the air actually comes over the roof and they cut the back window out and they bring air down into the radiator. When you move your radiator to the rear, you delete that whole natural airflow setup. Normally the radiator gets all the airflow from your car moving forward. The movement of your car is what creates the natural airflow. Now directing the natural airflow to your radiator is the problem. I know there's guys actually cut up their quarter panels and do all that. I'm not really into that whole life. I'm more about keeping it cleaner looking. Here's a couple of tips and tricks, okay? So I kind of routed my stuff on the passenger side of the vehicle, and the reason I did that is to kind of offset the weight of my big old booty that sits on this side. And I'm a good 200 pounds, 210 pounds. So anything really helps that's on this side of the car. I also mounted my battery over here. That's a little snippet for you guys. Another tip is you're gonna want some high points, okay? High point on the radiator, meaning you want the highest point of the cooling system to be at the top of your radiator, and you want the highest point of the cooling system to be at the top of your engine, and you want all your lines to do your best. Do your best to keep all your lines lower than your high points. Reason is bleeding. Bleeding can be a pain in the butt if you don't do this right. If you have a high point and you have this like roller coaster effect in your lines, you can run into air pockets, and air pockets create steam. Steam creates pressure. Pressure creates blown head gaskets, radiator caps, all the different freaking issues that you can run into. So if proof's in the pudding, my car works. It's been running for a couple years now. Like, I'm super blessed. Like, thank you, Lord, for that. If you just do the things like this, you should be fine. My credibility to you guys on YouTube probably isn't that high, but I've been driving for quite some time and my car's been running for quite some time. So hopefully that means something. What I did is I went ahead and installed a Schrader valve at the top of my engine. So any of the air that comes up into my engine, I hit the Schrader valve at the highest point on my cooling system on my engine, or not just at my water pump, but actually at the top of my motor. You hit the Schrader valve, you bleed the system out, you're straight. Get all the air out of there, get the air out of there. There's a couple of guys who have to like lift and lean their cars to get the air out, and it's just ridiculous. If you just keep your cooling lines lower and you have your high points where you're filling, you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. You need about 4,000 CFMs, you need about 55 gallons per minute, and you need a lot of natural airflow. So now that we went to the board, we already sat in our classroom, now let's actually get some hands-on. I'll show you this thing. That Schrader valve I was telling you about is right there, boom. Highest point on the engine, that's where I'm bleeding from. This point is higher than my water pump and my lines. My lines run around on the passenger side, through the firewall, underneath this floor paneling, all the way across, up here, across there. So then your lines come through the back, up here, around, into your actual radiator. So I have my radiator mounted a little bit lower. I do pick up airflow off the floor, but my main airflow comes in through my quarter windows. Now you have your whole radiator in your trunk. There's gonna be a ton of heat in the back of your car. The best way to get it out is to cut out the floor, A lot of natural airflow coming through there, sucking it out, and cut out your trunk. But if you drill out holes like I did in my car, a lot of the heat that's trapped in here that the radiator creates comes out of here. So you got a big fat fan, a good shroud, nice tight and close to your radiator. Mine's all zip tied together. Good fan, good radiator. Like I said, I ordered the radiator to the size of the fan. High point here. All my lines are lower. They stay low. They go lower, 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 lower. They come up high, and then they still stay lower than my highest point on my engine. They still stay lower. You can see them coming around here. Still lower than the highest point on my engine. So if you want to do a rear mount radiator setup, those are some of the things that I've come up with as I've developed my car and kind of come to these different roadblocks and things that I'm running into while I'm doing this. So it's one of the questions I get asked a lot is how to do the rear mount radiator system. Those are kind of the things I've come up with over the last like 2 years of trying to figure out this system. The first year was a big pain in the butt. I didn't have the right fans. I didn't have the right natural airflow. I didn't have a lot of that stuff, so it was very difficult to do. But if you just do it the way that I did it, it works for my car. It should work for yours. Again, it's one of the questions I get asked. I just wanted to bring this to you guys, make a video of it for you guys, and just show you kind of what I did and what works for me. So if it works for you, let me know. If you guys want to know anything else about my car, please comment below and like ask me a question. If it's a good question, which I got a couple of really good ones already on my Instagram account, put them below. I'll do my best to make a video on it if it's a good question. If it's like, hey bro, what's your wheel specs? I shouldn't even said that. I already know you trolls are going to be in the freaking comment section saying that. I'm not going to tell you my wheel specs, alright? I'm not going to tell you. Just know that I get my wheels from VR Wheels. Shout out to Caleb Quanbeck for helping me and throwing me in one of his videos. That was super dope. Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. And also Alberto from South Florida. That dude knows what's up too. Check him out. Big boost. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps you with your rear mount radiator setup. If you guys found any of this information helpful, leave a like. That'd be dope. If you guys have any more questions, put it below. If you guys want to see some more videos, subscribe and watch some videos. There's some more stuff here on this channel. You should check it out. It should be fun. It will be fun. It is fun. Watch Nick almost kill people. That's a funny video. I love that video. I don't know why it doesn't have more views. Go watch it. It's freaking tight. Thank you guys for watching. Blessings.